How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Crafting Cars. Happy Tuesday, and thank you guys for the love on our last video. We reached our 2-like goal, which means we are back for part 2 of the ACURA NSX build, and today we're going to be diving even deeper. I got a couple parts that showed up for the car, so we could do some quick repairs on it as well. By the end of this video, I want to find out what of the interior and the electronics we can salvage, what we might be able to fix up, and what needs to be thrown out. So let's get right into it. Now, one thing I've noticed about this car is it's so wide that it's actually kind of hard to work on without really having to lean on the sides of the car and potentially scratching the paint. So today, we're gonna try to fix that problem. I've got some of this crash wrap here. This stuff is made by Duragold. Now, you'll commonly see this stuff being used in like auto salvage yards. The main purpose for it is if there's a car sitting there that has been crashed into or maybe has like the window smashed, they'll wrap it around it and that'll keep dirt or debris or anything from getting inside the car while maybe it's waiting to get picked up from impound or something like that. It's super easy to apply. It'll really save your paint. Like while I'm working on this thing, you know, there's gonna be a lot of this action going on. And of course, you got like the buttons on your pants, any dirt or anything on your shirt. You definitely don't want to scratch the paint, especially on a car like this. So for those of you who watched the part 1 video, I did end up getting all 4 calipers removed from the car and dropped off at Charlie's house. So those are currently getting powder coated. And I found a second key for the car. This is actually the main key, and it was actually sitting in the ignition in the on position. So that explains why the second we hooked up 12-volt power, the lights started acting up, you know, they went straight down and we heard the door chime. And you can see the key ring on this thing. Rusted. Dead giveaway. I also mentioned in the first video that the engine cover, struts weren't working, blown out. Same with the trunk. But that's okay, because we got some new parts for it today. So for the trunk, we got the OEM struts and ball studs. And for the engine cover, we have this upgraded Science of Speed kit. Not only do they look nice, but they actually allow you to open up that engine hatch even higher than the factory struts, which makes it easier to work on. Good as new. Now, the reason we took off this piece of plastic here is because we need to readjust how these wires are mounted. Just basically gotta extend them and re-zip tie them. Just because this glass opens up a little bit higher with the new struts, we don't need them pulling on the wires. And this also gives us an opportunity to clean these terminals for the rear glass defroster. Now, I'm using this product here. This is called Deoxit. We'll be using this in any scenario where we can't replace a terminal. And what this basically does is removes the oxidation from these terminals. And not only does it remove corrosion, but it provides a protective layer to prevent corrosion in the future. Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's awesome. It's pretty nice. I don't have to hold these hatches up with boards anymore. I started digging into the trunk and I noticed that this amp was mounted to the firewall with these super long, like 3-inch deck screws. Anyway, pulled it out. I took a look at some of the connectors, pulled them back to the carpet, and I have decided we're not going to be saving this carpet. Seal's still in pretty good shape. Probably be able to save this. So I'm gonna let the customer decide what he wants to do with this trunk space here. We could go OEM, which would be around $1,000, but you get brand new carpet, clips, and everything. Or you could do maybe fiberglass work. I could make something custom in here, maybe mount some speakers in it and stuff, early 2000s style. Or we could just keep it like this, keep it open, maybe put a switchboard in here, just keep it race car style. So we got options. The one thing we're not gonna do is reuse this carpet, because you can definitely see where the mold is starting to spread. It's visible now, and there's still plenty of it that's probably invisible deep inside this carpet backing. Sometimes you can get mold out of this thin stuff, but this thick stuff, not a chance. These are rusted, but I think they could be sandblasted and brought back to life, so definitely gonna wanna hang on to these. And it's got one really cool tool in here, tire pressure gauge, and it says Honda on it. Just a little plastic gauge. The carpet chunks at the bottom of this foam piece are definitely damp. Ugh. Brother. That is disgusting. So if we're getting all the mold out of this trunk area, I'm gonna use this mold armor. So it seems that mold armor is working pretty good. The smell in here is almost completely gone. And to take things one step further, I mix some baking soda and water, put it in a spray bottle, and that's a really good deodorizer and cleaner as well. So you guys wanna see something concerning? So taking a look at the amplifier wiring here, you could see where the copper wire was exposed to the salt water for a short period of time. It doesn't look too bad, a little corrosion on the tip, but if you were to strip this wire back a little bit, you could see that the salt water actually leaches its way into the wires, and inside where the insulation was is actually more corroded than the tips. Another example of this can be seen on this fuse here for the amplifier system. Now, a little bit of corrosion where you test the fuse. A bit of corrosion on the spades here. But if you look through the clear plastic, you can see the corrosion on the inside of the fuse where the water leached up is way worse. Now in a lot of flood cars, people like to find the water line, which shows the level at which the car was submerged. However, there's not an obvious line on this car. But I'm feeling like it was probably right around, a little under this fuse box. Reason being is if you look in here, it looks brand new. That's what a fuse box is supposed to look like. Compare that to the front fuse box, which is like vertically another foot down, all corroded. Now, if you go inside the interior, you feel the seat. This leather has experienced a lot of salt water. It's super crusty, super hard and scratchy feeling. But if you go up to the headrest, it's still nice and soft and plush. So it's gotta be right around kinda here. So I think it's about time we start tearing out this interior, starting with the seats. Now these are held in with 4 bolts, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And if you guys remember in our last episode, when we had the battery hooked up, we could not get these seats to move. I went ahead, checked the fuses, figuring that was it. But the fuses are in the nice fuse box and they were fine, so that is not it. Chances are it's probably these switches. Contacts are probably just full of corrosion. Now, I did find a way to get these out of here. We might be able to bypass the switches and go directly to the seat motor if the seat motor is still good. Luckily, I've got this right here, a service manual for the NSX from 1992. This thing's like 1,400 pages long. It's super thick, and I've been reading it like crazy. This has been my Bible lately. But it's got all the information I could ever want and need. This thing was 200 bucks, but worth every penny. I'm gonna be filling it up with my own electrical diagrams for any circuits I have to add in this project, and I'll be giving it to the owner when I'm done. But as you can see, there is a plug for the power seat motor, and depending on how I hook my 12 volts up to it, I can get it to slide forward and back. So let's give that a shot. All right, here we go. Nothing. Now I'll try the other way. Ah, that's lame. Let me try the other seat. Come on, passenger side. Dang it. Since directly hooking up power to these motors didn't work, chances are these motors are just rusted into place. As much as this hurts me, I've decided I'm gonna have to destroy these seats to get them out of the car. If somebody wanted to restore these seats, or if the customer wanted to resell them possibly, it would need all new leather and all new foam and all new motors and all new switches anyway, so it hurts, but they're basically junk, and we're gonna get them out. With the seat cushion gone, I've got access to these 2 lead screws now. I had to break them free, but now I can turn them a little bit, get this thing exactly where I need it to access these 2 rear bolts.
Oh God.
Even the seatbelt's got a ton of mold on them. Surprisingly, I haven't broken one clip today.
For killing the mold on the nice leather interior materials, we'll be using distilled white vinegar. So I think we've reached a pretty good stopping point for today's video. What have we learned? Everything below the saltwater line that's porous, electronic, or steel is basically shot. Everything above the saltwater line should be savable with a little bit of TLC. For example, all these interior panels that we pulled, I gotta keep a close eye on them, make sure the mold doesn't come back. But if it doesn't, I guarantee you I can make these things look like brand new again. Maybe make them look even better with some Alcantara wrap. I gotta talk to the customer, see if he'd be interested in that. Go full NSXR style. That would be sweet. As far as these seats over here, like I said, headrest I might be able to save. Maybe seatbelt buckle. Nope, that's rock solid. That ain't going anywhere, so that's unfortunate. I believe most of the taillight and taillight harnesses was above the water line, so I should be able to salvage some of that. As far as the interior, I'm really hoping all these modules here are in decent enough shape to resell. I'm hoping that the gauge cluster here is in pretty dang good shape looking from the front. I hope when we tear this dash apart in the next episode, it looks just as good from the back. Carpet, we don't need to talk about that. That looks disgusting. As far as like the wiring situation on this car, it's not a bad idea to try and rewire this whole car. Maybe pick up a Haltech PD16. I would feel really bad if we finished this build, gave the car to the customer, and for the rest of the car's life, the owner was fighting electrical gremlins caused by corrosion, which, as you can see, most of the damage is stuff that you can't see at all. So I'd like to thank you guys for following along on the build. If this video gets 3 likes, we'll do a part 3. We'll be back next Tuesday, diving even deeper into this NSX. Hopefully I see you then. Bye-bye.